Alright, check it out guys. You guys just got a brand new Traxxas Xrt and you want to build an ultimate Traxxas Xrt. Let me show you guys exactly how I do this. Alright, check it out guys. This truck is not very fast stock and the tires are not very reliable. But check this out guys. Behind me I have all the parts we need to completely rebuild this thing into an orange beast. But before we do that, let me show you how much the truck weighs stock, and let's start wrenching. So guys, before we start this build, I just want to talk a little bit about why you should or why you should not upgrade your Traxxas Xrt. Now, this truck is going to a customer who, he's not really a huge basher, he's not sending it 40, 50 feet, and he's not looking to go 100 miles per hour. So some of the recommendations I would make, I'm going to show you here in a second, but first let's go ahead and see how much the stock XRT weighs. There we go, check it out. Our stock truck is weighing in at 24 pounds, 1.6 ounces. A couple of things to start now. If you're going to go ahead and build up your Traxxas XRT or even your Traxxas X-Max, there's a couple of things I would recommend doing very first before any. Okay, so when you first get your truck, you're going to go out and you're going to maybe do some parking lot bashing or some mild jumping in the grass, and the first thing that's going to happen is these are going to split apart and you're going to lose your hinge pins. Now I don't know what it is about it, but if the truck starts to cartwheel or whatnot, these like to spread apart and they're not captured by anything but one screw. They go on one side, they're captured by the plastic end, and then they get a screw to cap off the pin that holds on the hub. Alright, check it out guys, here it is. This is going to be the first upgrade I would recommend for your Traxxas XRT or your Traxxas X-Max. Part number is going to be TXMPIN/20-BK. I'll definitely try to leave a link for every single part in the description below. It's going to be a lot, the list is going to be long, but check this out. Alright guys, so here are the pins, and the reason you're going to want to get these pins is because they are captured with a nylon lock nut. They come with the nuts and all the various size pins. One thing you get with the kit as well is you're going to get a drill bit because you're going to have to drill out the arms. You see the pin's not going to go through there, so go ahead, grab yourself a drill and a bit, and before you get them installed, you're going to want to drill them all out. One other thing that comes in the kit is going to be the pins for the shocks. You're going to get hard metal flat washers for that, as well as the nylon lock nuts. Next part of the build I'm going to recommend highly is going to be this GPM 7075 bash bar, and it covers from the front of the chassis all the way to the rear of the chassis. Alright, so the reason why I recommend this bar highly is because, guys, these trucks have really super thin bulkheads in the front and the rear, and I've noticed when I installed this, onto my XRT, I stopped breaking arms for some reason. Basically, I stopped breaking everything. Now, I do break things on this truck, but I'll tell you what, this bar is amazing. So if you're just looking to bash and send it super high, super big air and huge hard landings and crashes and all that good stuff, that is probably going to be the perfect few upgrades for you, and it's going to keep your truck nice and stock, light still, super nimble, all that good stuff. But then guys, you're going to want to do a few more upgrades after that. Let me show you what I would do next. Now, because the stock servo is, you know, it's fairly quick and fairly strong and all that good stuff, but guys, it's just not going to hold up to the strong bashing over a long period of time. It has plastic gears, and you can also upgrade to a Traxxas upgraded servo, but I definitely recommend going with a standard size 1/8 servo. The adapter kit is going to come with the adapter. It is GPM 7075 aluminum. It's going to come with a 25 tooth servo horn, and it's going to come with a XRT specific aluminum drag link. So guys, it really is. It's like a never-ending rabbit hole with this. So you're going to get your servo, and then you're going to go, well, it's too slow, so then you're going to need to do an upgrade on your ESC. And this is what I like to use in my trucks. I like to use the Hobbywing Max 5 G2. There's the Hobbywing Max 5 G2. And then guys, because it is super small and light, well, it's the lightest of the 3 cans or 4 cans. It's the 5690 1250 kV. And because of that, you're going to be able to bump up to BEC and run the servo at 8.4 volts to give it maximum power and steering performance. So taking a look at my truck, fellers, check this out. Once you get a new ESC, you're going to need a place to mount the thing. And you're also going to need a motor mount and all that good stuff. And what we have here is we have the Pnwrcmadness ESC Caddy. It accepts the version 2 Hobbywing motors and also the version 1s. We have a version 1 ESC Caddy and we have a version 2. And we're going to be installing the version 1 on this truck. But that is what you get in the kit is 2 carbon fiber plates, an RX box, and the hardware to mount it up. Makes it super clean, super nice. Okay, so there are the 2 versions. This is version 1 and this is version 2. And guys, the reason why you need this is because you have to have a spot to mount your large Max 5. And guys, if you're using a Max 5, you're just going to double back tape your ESC down. Now, this is drilled for a Castle XLX2, but trust me guys, I trust 3M double back tape for the life of my ESCs on a lot of rigs. So the next part of the build, guys, if you do an upgrade, you're going to need a motor mount. As you can see, we have that one in black, Pnwrcmadness. But check this out, guys. You're going to get whatever color you decide. It's going to come all packaged up in Pnwrcmadness packaging, and you're going to get all the hardware to mount up your motor. Now, real quick, let me tell you one thing about these mounts. They are definitely going to need some support. Now, if you're using a big, huge 1100 motor like this, or smaller even like this 1250, you're definitely going to want to do some sort of support. Guys, all I do is just cut a block of plywood to height, and guys, you could send this truck as high as you want and no worries. All right, guys, so after we get the motor and the motor mount, and you're like, well, Chris, what gears do I run? Well, you can run some gears that I have here by GPM. They're awesome. I've got Mod 1 and Mod 1.5, all that good stuff. But guys, let's face it, those gears are expensive and they do break, and when they break, they cause more damage, and they break both gears, and they just break. So I offer this as well. This is a belt drive, and guys, this is 20-30 ratio, and that's what we're going to be running with this motor. Now, I do recommend you go ahead and check out a Bauhaus 8mm spur shaft, and just run 8mm bore for the spur pulley as well. On top of that, guys, you're going to want to go ahead and do a belt drive mod, and that is going to be a lower gear cover and a screw kit with washers. And I'll show you how to install that once we start wrenching on the truck. So we're almost ready to build, guys. And the rest of the parts, they're just kind of bling bling, and they do have some upgrade abilities, and they actually do perform well over stock. I'll show you that in a second. A couple of those parts would be like the axles and the knuckles and the hubs. But before I show you that, let me show you the next thing that you're going to absolutely need to get for your truck. So after you upgrade your ESC, and you upgrade your motor, guys, you're going to want to upgrade your tires as well. So I like to run and sell the jconcept choppers and magmas, but right now we're going to go ahead and install these jconcept choppers. It is the platinum compound. They're pre-mounted, and they fit the X-Max XRT, Creighton 8S, the Outcasts, and quite a few other vehicles actually. Now, one thing that's so awesome about these is that they are beadlock. So not everybody knows what beadlock is, but guys, the beadlock here is this ring, and it is actually locking the bead of the tire into the wheel. One super awesome thing I really like about the jconcept magmas and choppers is that they come with these removable hex. Installed on the truck, you're going to get a 17mm removable hex, and that's going to bolt right onto your Traxxas X-Max or XRT. Now, if you're curious how much the jconcept choppers weigh, let me show you how much they weigh really quick versus the stock tire. So we'll just go ahead, weigh up the stock tire first, and stock tire weighs 1 pound 5.7 ounces. All right, so at 1.5 ounces, that's the Traxxas tire. Now let's go ahead and weigh up the choppers. All right, guys, so the choppers are 1 pound 15.8 ounces, so quite a bit heavier, and they're going to have a little bit more force on the truck. So this is what I'm going to use to mount them against the stub axle. All right, so now you got your jconcept choppers. Check this out. We at Pnwrcmadness are now offering the 4 outside rings. Guys, these are 7075 aluminum bead locks. We'll be installing these as well. And then what I really wanted to show you was, these are the GPM lug hex. I use these on all of my Traxxas rigs. I use them on the 1/8 rigs. I use them on my sledge. I use them on my Max. These are versatile, and they even work with the 24mm lug that comes with the jconcept tires. So you could use this with the 17mm or the 24mm to strap these on your XRT. Now once we go ahead and start screwing these together, guys, the stock wheels come with black oxide screws. Those get super rusty, and you know, they get pretty beat up and they turn ugly. So we're gonna go ahead and install these. We sell these on the website as well. This is just like a wood screw that screws into the wheel. It's got better grip. I call them gripper screws, and you can find these on these wheels on the build. There they are. We got all 4 installed, all the stainless steel screws, and we got all the bead locks facing the same direction on the wheel. So the next step in the process, guys, once you got it all torn apart completely, go ahead, get your bulkheads all clean, get the grease out of there. Otherwise, you'll have problems with this next step. So we got the front cleaned out and we got the rear cleaned out. Now all I did to clean those was use some Dawn dish soap and a brush, and I got it all out nice and clean. Now what you're going to do, guys, is you're going to go ahead and boil a bunch of pots of water, and what I like to do is pour them all into my 5-gallon cooler. Because it's insulated, it keeps the water warm. And basically what you're going to do, boil that, fill up your cooler, and then you're going to just insert your parts into the cooler and let them stay there for overnight. I like to do 24 hours. That way it soaks in nice and thick, or I don't know what the word would be, but I want the dye to soak in really well, and I want it to be nice and black. So we're going to let it sit overnight for 24 hours. So let's go boil some water and dye the chassis. All right, guys, check it out. We got our cooler and we got all the parts inside. Now we're going to start pouring that boiling water, and then once we get to the top, we'll pour in the RIT dye and we'll let that set for overnight. We got our first bucket of boiling water, and we'll go ahead and close the lid to keep the heat in. Guys, because the pieces are plastic, you might want to put something in there to weigh them down, and then just go ahead, pour in your RIT dye, kind of stir it in a little bit, close the lid, let it set, and this is what it looks like when it's done. All right, so the next thing in line for the build, guys, is going to be all these parts, and this is going to be the GPM diffs. And let me tell you why I like these diffs, guys. First of all, these are 7075 cases. This is a one-piece case, and it accepts the Traxxas diff part number 7783X, and that part number, guys, is going to be that part there with the ridge, and we use those for front, center, and rear. All right, there they are. That is all the parts that we're going to be installing into the truck. I call these the ultimate diffs for the X-Max and the Traxxas Xrt. We're going to be using these GPM medium carbon steel outdrives. That's actually, there's a ring that is actually welded on there. We're using a brand new O-rings, steel shims by GPM. These are the mod 1.6 spiral gears. They come with the ring and pinion, and the pinion also comes with a bearing and a metal locking ring. All right, so we're coming back to these builds. Guys, yes, I said these builds. About 2 or 3 weeks later, you can see I've had to shave and all that good stuff. And we're gonna go ahead and start off by finishing one of them. So we're gonna go ahead, check it out, guys. Let me show you up close what it looks like, and then we'll keep going. All right, check it out. So we actually have 2 builds going on at the same time, and I get a lot of questions about how I am doing this and I just want to show you. Guys, these are just all done by hand for now, and I am actually working on a kit for you guys for the X-Max and XRT, but for now, this is how I've been doing it. So I just go online, and I have just been ordering wrap just by 3M, so I just make sure it says 3M wrap film, and this has been series 1080. And basically I just use a heat gun and a really sharp blade. I keep changing my blades to make sure it stays sharp and my edges stay fresh. Guys, they're not perfect, but I do the best I can. So I did one of them in this blue. This was, you know, not very much. Just takes a lot of time to do it all by hand. So, and then I also did one in orange. So we are working on an orange XRT and a blue XRT. Guys, I'm gonna start putting these together. We're doing the blue one right now, and the next thing I need to do is I need to bind the radio to the receiver. That way I can install the brand new servo. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead, get all this stuff out of the box. I'm gonna show you what we're using on this truck. This is actually a Futaba 4PM. It's an amazing radio. It's an awesome price point, and it comes with one receiver. Super nice. Check it out. So you get that, and then you also get this wireless receiver. This is an R304SB/E. One cool thing about this radio, let me show you. We'll go ahead, snap the batteries in there. It doesn't come with batteries, but you can use AA's, and then also you could take this little thingamabobber out of here, little battery tray, and you can actually plug in a LiPo battery. So for now, we're just going to use AA's. Right, so like I was saying, we're going to go ahead and start off. Very first thing, we're going to go ahead and mount up the ESC, just kind of temporarily, just so we can go ahead, program the radio, bind it all up, get the servo installed. In this build, we're going to be using this Savix. This is a SW2290 SG, so that is steel gear. And guys, these are awesome, amazing servos. Let's see here, it's 88 grams, I believe. The speed is 1.13 and 0.11, and we're at 972 ounces of torque at 8.4 volts. So before we stick any kind of batteries in the truck, check it out. We gotta install these Pnwrcmadness trays. All right, so if you guys are tired of losing your batteries, you know, the Traxxas, the stock ones work great with the stock batteries, but a lot of guys upgrade their batteries, and then they don't really fit in there, and they start falling out because it's not engineered for the bigger batteries and all that good stuff. Traxxas knows what they're doing. But anyways, this is what we got. These are 4 millimeters thick. To drill into the chassis, comes with hardware, and then you're going to get 4 Kevlar straps. Guys, these have been amazing and held up awesome. Okay guys, check this out. We got the Nerf bars on both chassis. Since we're building them together, we got the straps installed, and then we got the first part of the ESC caddy installed. That's how you do it. You get the standoffs put on there, you get your receiver box on and the receiver installed inside. And then the next thing we're doing here, guys, is we are actually shortening up these wires on the motors, and we're going to go ahead and chop those down, and I'm going to show you guys a trick on how to solder up your 8-gauge motor wires really quick. But first, guys, these fumes are super dangerous, and this is how I get them off the motor cables, the motor leads, with a torch. To get the bullets off, you can go ahead and just burn them off. Don't worry about your wires there, because we're going to chop those down. Use your solder gun and a little bit of solder as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and burn them off. Go ahead, get yourself a pair of dikes, and then go ahead and chop your wires down. Alright guys, so the next thing you're going to do after you got all your motor wires chopped down, get yourself a nice, clean, hot soldering iron. Guys, I'm using a Track Power solder iron. I don't know what model it is. It's like a TK950. And then you're definitely going to want to use some solder that has rosin core in it. So get solder with rosin core, and I use a 60/40. And then guys, before you chop the wire, this is how I tin them before I chop the silicone, and this makes life so much easier. So it takes a few seconds, a few minutes maybe, because the wire is super thick, but oh yeah, don't forget to turn on your fan. And then I'll show you what they all look like after they are all tinned up. Alright, check this out guys. Once you get your wires all shortened up, you can go ahead, and let's see if we can get this on camera. You're going to want to go ahead and just cut them down, and before you chop it around, you know, like that 1/8 inch or so, 4 or 5 millimeters, go ahead and tin them up right inside the silicone. And then what you do is you just go ahead and cut it up, and I'll show you what it looks like. So what I like to do is I'll get them all tinned up, and then you take your nice sharp razor blade and just roll it around. I don't have wire snippers guys, so I just use these, and then take a look. Your wire is all nice and tinned up, and it's ready to fit right in back into the they'll fit right back into the bullets. They won't be all spread out. Makes it super simple.